Hello guys, and welcome back to our next video in our tutorial series. In this video, we'll be working on two parts of the application, and that is the tab navigation and the product details. So without wasting much of our time, let's jump into the tutorial. Firstly, we'll be creating the other screens on our navigation bar, which are the back screen, the profile screen, and the other screen. After this, we'll be creating the tab overlay. This is the page that will hold the other pages on the tab navigation. On this page, we'll add the scaffold. On our splash screen, we replace the home screen with our tab overlay. Once we restart the application, we see the blank screen which comes after the splash. So let's work on the tab navigation. We need a single ticker provider state mixin, and within it to add our TabController. The TabController is used to control the tab navigation. Within our init state, we add our TabController with a length of 4. This is because we'll have 4 pages on this tab. Then we would add a listener to our TabController. This updates a value whenever we change the TabController. So for this listener, I will update the tab index with the index in the TabController. This is the main view which holds other pages like the home, the bag, and the profile. So we add all of them. Once we run the application now, we see the home screen. We have to restart this application to update our tab bar view. Next, we wrap our tab bar in a stack. This is to enable us create a floating bottom tab navigator. After that, under our tab bar view, we add a container with a height of 65. And put it in a positioned widget. We will position the widget to the bottom of the screen with a height of 20 and do the same for the left and the right. We add our border radius and shadow to our navigation bar. Then within our navigation, we add our first icon, which is the home icon. I would like to reuse this icon, so I will create a widget which is going to be called the tab icon. This widget will have the active icon, inactive icon, title, and the index variables. So within it, we create a column with our image at the top and the text at the bottom. Let's create 4 instances of the tab icon as required in the design. Next, let's add a click handler to update the tab index. In order to fade in from one image to another, we'll use an animated crossfade and set both of our widgets. Using the active boolean, we check which item is active and updates the value on the animated crossfade. Let's add the colors for the inactive icon. To animate the text, we use an animated opacity and use the active boolean to toggle the opacity. We want our tab icon to stretch through the whole bottom navigation, so we use an expanded widget. An expanded widget is used because it gives each item an equal spacing between one another, and also allows us to click any of the white space in between each of the icons. So for this widget, we can click any region around the icon without it specifically being on top of the icon and still get the results. So we can see our tab navigation has been made, but we notice that whenever we come back to the home page, it reloads the page. To fix that, we would like to persist the home page. So we go to the home screen and add a mixin called automatic keep alive client mixin. We override the want keep alive, and within the build context call the super method. This fixes the issue. For the next part, we'll create the product details screen. For now, this page will just hold the product item. So we add the product item variable, and we also add a scaffold, giving it a background color of white. To navigate to this page, we go to the product list and add a navigator which sets the product and takes us to the product details screen. So within this screen, we'll create the app by using our custom back button and the title of the product. As the product name. We'll also add the price to the right hand side of the screen using the actions. After creating the app bar, within the body, we'll add a list view because we want this page to scroll once it exceeds the height of the page. Then we add the image. To make this image animate from the previous screen onto the screen, we use a hero widget, setting the tag as the product ID. This animates the image from the restaurant detail into the product detail. Next, we add the options. We call it the text options widget and create a separate widget for it. This widget would basically be a text within a container, having the border style as the Figma design. A wrap widget is used on this screen so that if we have items that exceed the width of the screen, it overflows to the next line. We'll see this in action when we work on the variant section on this screen. We want the text option widget to be able to be selected and also change the display once selected, so we wrap the widget in an inkwell which allows it to be clicked. We update the color of the background once it's selected. So let's add some items on the product details screen. Let's go back to the text options widget and also update the color of the text once it is selected. Next, we'll be working on the line with the product price and the quantity selector. After we add the text for the product price, we create a widget called product increment widget. This widget will have the plus and minus to increase and decrease the product quantity. It's going to take in two variables, which are the quantity and the onChange, which is the function that updates the quantity. On the product increment widget, we'll use a method to create a button, which is going to be both the increase and decrease button. We'll use a container to create the widget and add the style, giving it a height and width of 40 and a gray border. Within it, we use a text to add the plus icon. Let's use a boolean to differentiate the increment and decrement button. So if it is an increase, we add the quantity in the unchanged with 1, and if it is a decrease, we subtract the quantity with 1. Let's add padding to our text to give it a spacing on both sides. On the button, I'll add another condition. This condition prevents the user from decreasing the item below 1. So now you can see our widget has been created. Next, we add the product description. And also a text for the variants. We will also be using a wrap widget here because we intend to get multiple items in the variants and we want them to overflow to the next line once they exceed the width of the screen. So as you can see, we have 3 items and one of them overflowed to the next line. Since we have the same widget for the drink, we copy the variant and paste it again and update the text to select pet drink. We add a size box in the button to give it a little space at the bottom of the screen. Finally, we'll create a button which allows the user to order this item. We'll use a floating action button and add an extended floating action button. On the label, we place a text add to cart. Let's change the background color of the floating action button to fit our design. And also the foreground color, that's the text color in this case, we change to white. This concludes the design for the product detail. Thanks for watching to this point. If this video helped you in any way, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Until then, have a nice day.